Simon Colyn has been in absolutely terrific form for the Graafschap in the second flight of Dutch football, but can Simon Colyn be the answer to Canada's goal-scoring troubles at the moment ahead of two crucial matches against Jamaica in Copa America qualifiers? And for me, to answer that question, it's truly a yes, but it's not as simple as a straight yes. There's still so many things that have to go right for the young Simon Colyn around the CanMNT potential and especially earning minutes. But with the current state of our strikers at the top level of European football, Simon Colyn deserves a call-up on Mauro Biello's squad in this November window, and it's now time to explain why. Canadian strikers are all struggling at the top levels of European football, but besides one striker in Simon Colyn, who has now scored 3 goals in his last 4 matches for the Graafschap in the second flight of Dutch football, a division that might not be the strongest, and I can see some people's arguments against why he shouldn't be called up in such a lower division in European football, but still at a level that really shouldn't be looked down upon, as Canadians shouldn't be too unfamiliar with the second flight of Dutch football, as we have had a very recent face in Charles Andreas Brim, who has spent quite a few years in the second flight of Dutch football with FC Eindhoven in the past, as he had spent 2 seasons with FC Eindhoven and then got that transfer to Sparta Rotterdam, where he has now found his spot on the bench for the Eredivisie club. So even though Colyn, for me, is in the second flight of Dutch football, of course not playing at a top level of European football, but it's still a very good level that it shouldn't be really looked down upon and should still get a very good chance at this call-up, as we have had a player get call-ups with John Herdman and Charles Andreas Brim in that same exact league. So this shouldn't really affect his level of play or chances of earning a call-up this November. But currently, at the time of recording, Simon Colyn is in absolutely terrific form, scoring in back-to-back matches a couple of games ago, while also having 3 goals in his last 5 matches on the season. That puts Simon Colyn at 3 goals and 1 assist in 11 matches this season, starting every single match while tallying 813 minutes across the season at only 21 years old and being extremely versatile, which is an absolute understatement. Simon Colyn is able to play in so many variety of positions across the football pitch, which is a huge addition to this Canadian side that under Mauro Biello and John Herdman are always very versatile and able to shift formations and systems throughout the match, especially depending on the result and score at any point in a game. But with Simon Colyn being so versatile and not exactly a true out-and-out striker or number 9, Simon Colyn is more known for his ability to play as a false 9, which is of course a center forward, dropping off, not exactly playing straight down the middle, but being able to roam, open up space, and find some killer passes in the final third. He is also very good at dropping a bit deeper as a recognized number 10, more so an attacking-minded midfielder role. And this versatility from Simon Colyn gives Canada many options when looking at formations and different systems. Like I said, Mauro Biello and John Herdman's systems, tactics, their philosophies are all very familiar, and you look at them and they're all willing to switch mid-game and to look at it and change what, depending on the result, how the game is going to flow, the momentum, changing systems, formations, tactics throughout the match has always been a recognized thing throughout the Canadian CSA, the Canadian John Herdman era in the past couple of years, especially with Mauro Biello as well. And Simon Colyn truly fits that bill of versatility that these Canadian managers under John Herdman and Mauro Biello truly love. And with Canada's currently having no recognized out-and-out number 10 when we lost out on Stefan Mitrovic, we don't have that recognized out-and-out number 10, that attacking-minded midfielder, and Simon Colyn would finally be able to give Canada that option. Of course, Simon Colyn is not a straight out-and-out number 10, as he can play the false 9, as he can play as a number 9, but he is able to play that number 10 position. a lot better to an extremely higher level, in my opinion, than a Jonathan Osorio. And this would be a huge step up for a young Canadian to grab a hold of that number 10 role or that false 9 role, as Canada at times is truly missing that player to find the final ball or final pass between the midfield and forward lines in the final third. Quite often you can see us missing that final link, that final piece, and I think Simon Colyn could be that man with that vision to unlock defenses for Canada's midfield line. But also with Simon Colyn's most familiar role as a number 9, a false 9, and center forward, it would give Mauro Biello the option to play Simon Colyn just off Jonathan David, not as a pair of number 9s, but just dropping a bit deeper. With Simon Colyn being a false 9, he would more often look for the final ball or run off Jonathan David to open up that space for our elite goal scorer, even though he's in a drought, in the final third to find that crucial goal, to find that crucial shot, to open up more space for Jonathan David, to have him isolate with maybe Ethan Pinnock in that Jamaican final third. Well, when Jonathan David lines up with Cyle Larin, both are true out-and-out goal scorers. Both are unbelievable finishers. And of course, when you have two great finishers, two number 9s, even though Cyle Larin loves to make those off-the-ball runs and tries to open up space, he doesn't have that passing ability or that nous to really get out wide or maybe look for that pass to Jonathan David instead of taking that difficult shot off a weird angle. He would more so look like a Simon Colyn, who would look for a pass across the box or try to open up space for Jonathan David or get his head up and try to find that pass for JD. While Cyle Larin, who is of course an out-and-out goal scorer at number 9, who has always wanted to score goals, who is going to clearly look for the target, would take up that space from Jonathan David, would maybe step on his toes, would take away those chances. So having Simon Colyn also brings a ball moving and passing aspect to this game and the Canadian lineup that you don't see from a Cyle Larin or maybe a Jonathan David, or for say any of the Canadian true out-and-out strikers and number 9s. But Simon Colyn is currently the only Canadian in goal-scoring form, which should easily put him in the running for a Canadian call-up. Of course, he's not the obvious shout. Playing in a lower league does put him a bit down the pecking order, as there's so many Canadian strikers, even though they're in goal-scoring droughts, as the likes of Jonathan David, Cyle Larin, Ike Ugbo, and even Charles-Andreas Brim have been in absolute goal-scoring droughts, with Canada's elite goal scorer in Jonathan David has only managed 3 goals across all competitions this season. At the time of recording, guys, scoring his last league goal all the way back on August 27th against Larin in Liga. While Canada's other star striker in Cyle Larin has extremely struggled this season, sitting on no league goals. That is right, guys, 0 league goals in 11 appearances. Although just recently in the past week, Larin did score recently in the Copa del Rey against a very lower tier competition, and then the next match paired up with Mariki, the Kosovo international, and then struggled to get chances while making some fantastic runs in the final third. While on the other hand, Canada's newest, most exciting dual national up front in Ike Ugbo, on the other hand, has 3 goals in 14 appearances, and although that might sound not as horrendous this season, but for Cardiff City, Ugbo hasn't managed a single league goal since August 26th, so it's extremely peak. So Simon Colyn might be the best decision for Mauro Biello to have an in-form Canadian forward. No matter if he's not a number 9, no matter if he's a center forward, a number 10, I think Simon Colyn deserves this call-up, but he could be he could be that answer, the solution to our number 10 problem, our center forward problem, or even our goal scoring problem at the moment. So Simon Colyn deserves this call-up, and he's truly that guy I think we need to start getting involved in the Canadian setup and system. It'll be very interesting to see if Mauro Biello really sticks his head out on the line that much this call-up, that it'll be out just a little bit after this video is out, guys. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below, even if you're watching this after the roster announcement, because I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on Mauro Biello's decision with the squad. I'll be away, guys, on a trip, so I will be bringing my laptop to try and make some content as well, especially around the roster announcement. Guys, we're 4 subs away from 200, 5 subs. Let's try and push and try and get that, but let's set a like goal for 10 and drop down the comments, and I'll see what you guys have to say in the next one. Peace, guys.